welcome to Love Always Self. I'm Shyra.
Hi, y'all. I'm Karista, and thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Love Always Self.
Hey.
Little do you know, we tried to do this yesterday.
Yes, we did.
And we recorded a whole episode yesterday. It was a great conversation.
All 52 minutes and 37 seconds to be exact.
And then we went to go play it back and make sure it was all good and ready for us to edit and then get it uploaded. And lo and behold, our mics were on mute.
Silence. The most deafening silence I have ever heard in my life.
So we're redoing.
And we've tested this time. And the little bouncing green line is
signifying,
it's colorful.
yes,
It's colorful.
We are more successful today.
Yeah.
So we determined that our conversation yesterday was meant for us in that moment. And
yeah, it was. And when we did our reading, like our collective reading at the end, there were a certain number of cards that had popped out during the reading or during the shuffling of the cards. And there were, we only wanted to do 3. We try to keep it to 3 to, keep the episode as short as we possibly can. And there were more than that. And 4 of them I intuitively knew were just for me and Carrie. And it actually correlated with our topic yesterday. Sorry, y'all didn't get to see that. But those messages were very loud and clear for us. And so maybe that just carried a lot of weight. I am trying to give myself a little bit of grace here and just say, you know what, Shyra, you're human. You're still learning how to do all this.
well, and that was what was so funny is we were talking about the progression from when we first started, because we were saying that one of the things that you need to do is just get started. Whatever it is that you're wanting to do, you just need to get started. Don't expect to be perfect right off the bat, because there are so many lessons to be learned in the process of just getting started. And so we were talking about the level of improvement over the last 2 years. And lo and behold, we are still imperfect.
I know. I don't think there's any such thing as perfect. And I'm glad that there's not, I'm glad that there's no such thing as perfect, because then we're all in that together as well. Right. Okay. I'm going to slightly recap yesterday for just a second, because it has played a bit of a part in my day today. And so let's dive in. But before we dive in, I just want to say welcome to all you beautiful new listeners and viewers of our YouTube channel. We are watching our channel grow in the subscribers, and we really, really appreciate you.
It's so exciting to see the numbers growing and knowing that we're reaching more hearts, and just hopefully that we're helping more people. So
thank you.
Keep on hitting that ding ding.
I believe she meant the notification bell
or the subscription bell.
Or the subscription, yeah. But yeah, so yesterday, Carrie and I when we were meeting right before we hit record, we did a guided meditation that Brian Scott does on his YouTube channel I think it's called Reality Revolution. And the guided meditation was to transition or shift into a new reality. It's 10 minutes. It's quite powerful. I'm not going to lie. It's very, it's quick, but it's powerful. And during that episode, during yesterday's episode that y'all didn't get to see, I was recapping what my experience was, and Carrie was recapping what her experience was in doing that meditation and what is it that we actually saw. Mm-hmm. I know that we both shared that one of the realities that we saw was having more opportunities to go out into different spaces in the world and do some more vlog style videos like this. So
vlogging, doing talks, sharing information, creating courses, being able to maybe even give readings.
Yeah.
But doing what we're doing, but on a grander scale, and being able to travel and host retreats. Both of those were shared dreams in this meditation of shifting realities.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely saw us traveling more in that reality because part of the practice and that meditation, and I really do encourage that you guys go and take a look. But during that meditation, you kind of go off into this void as like a way to start fresh. And part of that starting fresh was to just clear all of your current existence, clear all of your current history. So that kind of brings me to today. After it was almost as if I was jumping back into a reality that maybe I didn't want. Like I shifted right out from that like go get him tiger mode to like what the F mode, you know?
I have a thought on that, but please continue.
Yeah, no, I've too have had quite a few thoughts on that. And today it's a little bit harder to be in the positive space because of all the activity that has gone on today. So like, and I'll share this, but earlier this morning, after yesterday of discovering that our entire recording session wasn't there, and I was really bummed about that. And I was trying not to carry this weight of guilt of not unmuting OBS, which is just so silly. And, you know, okay, in my defense, it's the tiniest button you've ever seen at the bottom of the monitor. So, in my defense.
I mean, in my opinion, when you hit record, it should say, "Did you know you're still on mute?"
Right? OBS, get it together. You know what I'm saying?
Suggestion.
Turn that on. And maybe it's a feature that exists and it's something I have to actually activate in settings. By all means, leave a comment. So I'm not bitter. And so after that, I went to lunch with my husband. We had a really good lunch. I was ruminating quite a bit. I was actively trying. I remember sitting there while we were waiting on our food, and I like pulled my phone out and I texted Carrie, and I was just like, I'm trying. And it was like me trying to tell somebody else that I was trying. And then I went and got my toes done, which was really nice. And it was a nice little pampering moment that I had. And even there, I was like, okay, I'm going to sit here in this massage chair and I'm going to let this action take place and relax and just relax into the moment and enjoy the moment. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to ask my guides, what is this lesson I'm needing to learn from this? Because I was pretty mad. I'm not going to lie. And I remember hearing them pretty loud and clear telling me that there was a moment in our conversation that at that point in time does not need to be shared with the public. And I was just kind of like, oh, okay. Because I wasn't thinking that at all. I thought everything we said, you know, was pretty copacetic. And so, and then so I asked at what moment. They gave me the answer. Again, not going to share that because it was their advice and I'm not going to not listen to that. But I thought that was pretty interesting, you know, that's what I got.
I think it's funny, and I just put these pieces together. But yesterday in that recording, the cards that we kept getting, all of them had like an air sign.
Yeah.
And air signs are generally connected to communication. Mm-hmm. And this was a missed communication. It's Mercury retrograde also.
I forgot about that.
And so the retrograde is, you know, it's encouraging re-words, whether that's relax, retreat, redo.
It needed a redo.
So I just think it's funny, this synchronicity. And we even pulled a card today, and it also had an air sign on it. And during your pedicure yesterday, you said 2 people there had triangles, which I know the triangles, wherever the line is around the triangle, it can signify one of the different elements. Yeah. So air sign is not the only one with the triangle. It's just the one with the triangle with the line through it towards the top.
Yeah. And the I'm going to call him therapist because honestly, that's what it felt like yesterday. But like she had a, you know, hers was like staggered triangles. And then in this morning's event, which I'll get there in a second, you know, there was another person that was like leaning down to pick up my dog and like had a massive triangle on their forearm. And I was like, what?
I mean, it's those symbols are connected with alchemy.
Yeah.
And for me, alchemy also includes like transitions and shift. Yeah. You know, like this transmutation or, how can we change one view into a different view, shifting perspectives.
Yeah. So again, great lessons that we get to continue learning on here on school. So this morning, my dog Webster, who is basically my child, he had been not feeling well. He'd been scratching his ears quite a bit. So I had made an appointment for him early this morning. And so we went. And while I was there and they were checking out his ears, the veterinarian did a monitor on his heart, and also had advised me that there was a mass growing in his mouth. Turns out to be a tumor that is potentially high risk, that it's cancer. And so this was a shock. And so, of course, in my bawling moment in front of two complete strangers, because this particular vet I hadn't met yet, and I was sitting there trying to like gather my thoughts and gather my words, and I was just like staring at her. And I remember I was just like staring at her. Like I didn't know how to absorb the information I was getting. And then the veterinarian's assistant had bent down to pick up Webster after bringing him in from a check that they did in the back. And I noticed that big triangular tattoo on her forearm. And it was like kind of right then and there where I started to shift more into asking questions. Okay, what's next? And they're like, well, he's also got a heart murmur, which on a scale of 1 to 10, they gave me a 3.
Okay.
And I was like, they're like, so it's not 10 being the worst, okay. Right? I'm sorry. She said 1 to 9. On a scale of 1 to 9.
Interesting.
He's at a 3. And I sat there and I was just like, what? I think I swear every time I go to a doctor, whether it's a vet or whatever. Anyway, so that happened this morning. Drove all the way home, calling you, bawling, trying to drive safely and not cry profusely like this. And again, this was this morning. So if I'm seemingly a little, distraught at the moment, then that's what's going on in my head.
You're allowed to have those feelings as long as you do.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, while we were deciding to redo this episode from yesterday, I had asked this time, instead of asking my guides, which are a part of I just straight up said, hey, God, I am. I always follow God up with I am because we have to put these random definitions on things. I was like, I could use some messages for myself today. And for the collective, which we'll get there at the end of this episode. But and so we got 2 cards. One very clearly symbolizing letting go, which I'm taking that in multiple ways in my head at the moment. And then the other one is the King of Swords. And what was interesting is that while I was on the phone with you, remember a blackbird ran into the side of my car. Literally a blackbird flew into the side of my car. And you got to hear the whole experience because I was really shocked. And I was like crying at the same time while I'm driving me and Webster back home. And I'm like, yeah, a bird just ran into the side of my car. And she's probably,
what?
You were like, I could hear this deafening silence again. And I was just like, yeah, I'm not making that up. That actually just happened. And of course, lo and behold, on this King of Swords card in the top right corner is this massive black bird. So haven't quite worked out that meaning, other than change, which I know I've been sensing the change is coming for a while and I can't quite.
I think that's tough because change is constant, right? It's always here. It's always happening. It's the big changes, the abrupt changes, right. The unable to plan for changes,
right?
That are the tough ones.
Yeah, I agree. So today, I'm working through my thoughts. I'm working through some level of guilt and questioning and self-forgiveness and patience, because I'm a very impatient person, if we haven't realized that by now here on Love Always Self podcast. And it seems to be a theme. Because one of the things that they were saying is obviously right then and there, I was like, take him to the back, get this out, right? Similarly, the same thoughts that I had when they told me I had cervical cancer. Okay, great. let's go. Let's get this out of me. Right. And I remember kind of sitting there when she's telling me, well, because of his heart condition, you need to have an echo. And it's seemingly now that vets are very cautious of how much these types of things cost for pets, for our lovely pets.
I think it's good that they're aware.
Yeah. So she started going into that. I started staring at her like, please stop talking about money. I'm not there, you know? And I was just like, okay. So I have to be patient. I have to go get this done to make sure that he can survive the anesthesia. So I was like, amazing. So again, I'm ruminating today.
It's so hard to practice patience when you think you know what needs to happen. You know, it's been a practice here for me too. You know, if you guys haven't heard the last 2 episodes, that shit is still going on. I'm still dealing with it.
Yeah.
And we've had to practice patience because we've had to get different information from different people, different estimates. And the gentleman that we're going to hire had to go out of town. And so John's surgery is this Friday. We're supposed to get another 5 to 7 inches this week. And we haven't, work hasn't started yet. So there's still the risk of flooding. It's only now, after Friday, I'll be on my own. And so this has been a real test of patience as well. And I've definitely put a lot of energy towards trying to send him thought messages of hurry your butt back to town so you can get started on my yard. And I've definitely been putting out into the universe that the work will get done by Thursday.
Right.
This is a little impatience.
I feel like this is just like one of those, these last several episodes. If it tells you anything, it tells you that we're just as human as the rest of you. We also touched on not putting anyone on a pedestal yesterday. We don't want to be put on pedestals. We're here to serve our community and serve ourselves in the nature of learning and growing together and finding all the different aspects that come with life and how we navigate them and feel supported in that. And that's our goal. And to spread more messages of love and less feeling of loneliness and separation.
Absolutely.
And so by us having these conversations and telling you not only what's going on in our lives, hopefully you realize that it's just more real. It's not some facade that we want to put on a YouTube channel.
I mean, it'll be really cool if we are able to get to a point where we're on stage for a TED Talk, but, we've got to have the experiences first to be able to get up on stage and share. And we're getting them.
Here we go, and you're along for the ride. Yeah. And it's funny to me because I think back at everything that I know I've been through, and I'm just like, I remember saying earlier today, I'm going to cut myself off there but for a second, but I remember saying earlier today, that's Webster, by the way, if you hear the jingle. He's hanging out with us. I kind of don't want him to not be by our side at any point in time at the moment. So he's like, I can't jump that high.
Okay, yeah. You can come up here. There you go.
He's like, that's it. I'm cuddling. I'm hanging out. So I think that thanks, Webster, for joining us. I think that honestly, we go through these trials and tribulations, and there's so many things that I've gone through myself that I look back at it now and I'm just like, I can't believe I made it through all of that. I can't believe I'm where I'm at now in my life and in my experience, having had some of those moments that I've had, and I see this with other people and in other people's stories as well. And there's always this level of gratitude from being able to navigate that in some way or fashion. And I feel like that makes a lot of us stronger in the sense that we have more of an understanding that we know we can do it. Because I also don't think that you have to have all these crap moments in life to also become stronger.
This is true.
Right.
nor do you have to have the crap moments to see the gratitude and be grateful.
Thank you.
And I'll acknowledge that in the tough moments, it's really hard to reach there.
Yeah.
But I find there's a lifting that can happen when you go back and review tough events and you're able to see the gratitude for whatever lesson, whatever experiences.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, I'm getting a look. So, in one of the cards that Carrie and I got, again, these are messages for ourselves. We also got this message of letting go and
Leaving it all behind.
leaving it all behind. And then there was also the shifting reality comment in the book for the card. And I was like,
oh, that's what I was
Whoa.
going to say. Thank you for bringing that back up. So I think it's a good practice to do these meditations and practicing, shifting realities. I don't know why I had to do the quotation marks, but I did. For podcasters, I did a quotation, air quotes. But one of the things that we talked about yesterday was using visualization as a tool to assist yourself in shifting realities or shifting perspectives. So we've talked about this in regards to manifestation too. Using your words. Words are powerful and visualizations are powerful. So a lot of sports players will actually use visualization to improve their performance. And so not only are they practicing, hitting the ball or making the pass, but they are also practicing in their mind so that when it happens on the field, they are more successful at it. So if we use that and put it into practice now with our shifting realities, then we are putting more power into that shift.
Right.
And I think what you experienced, this is what I kind of saw. It was almost like we're attached to like a rubber band here in this reality. And what you did when you were doing that visualization or that meditation was you actually stretched that rubber band to shift into that reality. So any tiny little pebble that you trip over snaps you right back. And so when we practice that over and over again, we're actually reducing the elasticity of that snap back into this reality.
Right. That's a good point. That's a solidly good point because it felt like it snapped back and then it maybe snapped backwards, like when you do pull said rubber band, this is for visual purposes, but when you do pull said rubber band, when it does snap back, it comes just a little bit further back from beyond its starting point.
Back in the hand or in the face. Oh, it's too real.
It stings. And I can sit here and I can be sad and depressed all day long and it would be my choice and my freedom to do so. But I'm going to choose my options. And my options are take the next step forward. And this is something else we talked about yesterday, that when you are wanting to shift into the reality that you're looking for, you have to take a step forward into that reality.
And that's the other part of manifestation is the action.
Is the action. Right. And it doesn't mean that you have to start huge leaps and bounds, starting at the base of the mountain to climb to the top. You're not Superman. You're not going to jump all the way to the top right then and there.
There's no shortcuts.
There's no shortcuts. What's that song? It's the climb. So, my first step of action is to say, okay, no matter what, it's going to be okay. And that's my step forward. Because I know that. Because time and time again, I have discovered that. And even if I wasn't here and my next day experience was to not be here, it's completely okay because I actually completely trust where I'm going after this. So there's that.
And I hear that you are aware that a lot of fears and a lot of anxieties, a lot of these stressors are coming from the unknowns of the future.
Yes.
What the future holds for us, we don't know. And you are making a choice to stay in this moment and appreciate what you have in this moment rather than staying stuck. It doesn't mean you don't visit it,
Right.
but you don't stay stuck in that future fear-based thought, because then you'll miss out on the time that you have now.
Exactly. So every day I will pet little Webster and cuddle little Webster. He's not a big cuddler, but
He's now allowed to get on the couch.
he is now allowed to get on the couch. His dog is about to have the best life ever on all the spoiled fronts. And just show him, that his life is amazing and he's providing love.
And he is loved.
And he is very loved. I think the hardest part listening to her today is that it had reminded me of all of my own personal events as well. And I remember asking you, I was like, is it possible that our little fur babies can take on the energy to help heal for their owners or for their parents? Because I too have gone through cancer, and I too currently have a heart condition. And so I think it's really strange that my dog is experiencing the exact same thing.
I think it's absolutely possible. But we also have to remember that these animals are souls too that chose to have this experience with us.
Yep.
And if they chose to take on that energy, don't take that away from them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't make it about you being at fault. Make it about your appreciation for everything that they do for you in every moment and all the love that they give, even in their crazy moments.
This is me paying back care to somebody else from all the care that I received. I'll take it. Mm-hmm. I won't take this. This needs to stop, but I will take it. All right.
You ready to move forward? And
we're moving on now.
And we are headed into the collective card reading for today.
Yay.
Redo.
The redo. Yeah, the redo. You remember how you said you were having Groundhog's Day with this rain?
Oh, I still am. It's literally Groundhog Day. It's been 3 weeks of Groundhog Days.
Oh, yeah, because yeah.
Okay. So we are using the Light Seers Tarot deck by Chris Ann today.
Yes, we are. I have the handy dandy guidebook. We're going to make some attempts here to, first give our impressions of what we're intuitively receiving.
And so we'll start with the first card, and we have 7 of Pentacles.
So this card has a gentleman looking down. He's in a black t-shirt. He's looking down at a plant, but underneath the plant is the roots, and you can see the roots in the ground. And then there's all the pentacles that are kind of connected to the base of these roots that are underground. He's got like a bit of, is that yellow surrounding behind him, just yellow sky. And his arm is kind of leaning. It's almost like he's either laying down on the ground or he's like, and just kind of gracefully touching the plant or something.
I don't know if you can see this in the video, but there's almost like this light coming either from the plant or from his hand. Like there's an energetic exchange. I know that this is 7 of Pentacles, but the first thing that I thought of was all of those circles remind me of the chakras. They're just not in a straight line like we normally see them. And so this almost reminds me like the tree of life and how the roots are so much deeper and unseen through each of us.
It also makes me wonder about healing energy. I know that in my reality that I was, looking into, that I wanted to be in, I had mentioned wanting to be able to physically heal, using light and love. So, yeah, that's literally what I'm picking up from it.
I'm also getting, again, reminding us to ground. And when we're dealing with tough things, sending that anxious, stressful energy back to the earth, because Mother Earth is so vastly more intelligent and strong and big and able to handle this energy and transmute it. And she exchanges it back. It's kind of like when we breathe, we're taking in the oxygen and we're exhaling the carbon dioxide. And the plants take that and
Use it for growth. Mm-hmm. Wow.
and then reproduce that oxygen so that we can breathe.
That's a great analogy. Wow. Well said. So to the book. A pause. States of gratitude. Reflecting on your journey. Wow. It doesn't say wow. I just said wow. Waiting to harvest the fruits of your labor. A sign to keep going. No way. Wow. Okay. Keep going. This moment gives you a divine interlude to revisit your purpose and direction. Your arrival is possible only after you pinpoint the destination. Has your journey shifted so much that what you originally germinated is not the thing you desire to harvest? Oh, snap. Interesting.
So I heard patience, persistence, resilience, and there was another word in there. Like another retrograde word.
Yeah.
Reevaluate.
Revisit. Yeah.
So reflection, taking time to reflect, finding that gratitude. Oh, that's what we were just saying. Looking back and reflecting after the events have passed, finding that gratitude. And, even when you're in those moments, practicing patience and knowing that you will get through it and be able to have that time to reflect back and find that gratitude. It just may not be in this now moment.
If this isn't confirmation that sometimes the messages that you need to hear are given to you, I don't know what is.
All right, let's go for card number 2.
Oh, she's pretty.
The 4 of Pentacles.
Uh-oh. Another Pentacles, huh?
All right, so this woman, she is holding a purse, and it has 4 of those colors with the pentacles on it. She's kind of looking over to her left side, and it looks like she's sitting kind of like on a Greco or Greek balcony overlooking maybe a Middle Eastern town.
Maybe.
I say Middle Eastern because it looks very deserty, and
yeah. I mean,
and her dress kind of tells me that too.
Yeah, and she's got the head wrap on, which I was kind of feeling like African or Spanish. So it could be all of the above, whatever connects with you. It's beautiful though, and she looks like she's contemplative a little bit, or maybe she's sitting in silence, like she's clutching onto this coin.
I was going to say, it looks like she's
purse.
holding something dear to her heart.
Yeah.
Like almost looking behind her, like she's kind of making sure that nobody's following her. Maybe making sure that she's covered her tracks or her trail.
Yeah. For those of you watching this on YouTube, I'm curious. What do you feel? What are you picking up from this? Let's see. We've got stability, savings, success, generosity, accepting your worth, being in the flow with the universe, feelings of gratitude, helping others in times of need.
I would not have gotten that with this card, just looking at this. Because it
Me
really,
neither.
and maybe that's just the importance of listening to that intuition, right? Because not everything that's always written in the books is exactly what you're needing. That's why it's important to get connected and practice making that relationship with your deck and becoming used to it and learning how to kind of just feel into the card rather than just relying on the notes 100%.
I do like the mantra that's at the end, or the affirmation that they gave in the book.
Shadow?
There is a shadow for this one. Hoarding, coveting, lack mentality, placing too much value on money, a need to be more charitable.
So I think this, like, maybe for me, I'm getting that lack mentality.
Interesting. Was it upside down earlier?
No.
No, we didn't see the cards. So
Yeah.
I live an abundant life and I have more than I need. So that's an affirmation that comes with this card. I live an abundant life and I have more than I need.
I think we needed to hear that.
I agree. sometimes when you're practicing that shifting into a reality, you might be doing it because you don't like the one you're in.
All right. Card number 3. The Knight of Pentacles. Man.
All pentacles. Are you serious?
All Pentacles.
Okie dokie.
So this one has 11 pentacles. One of them is on a gentleman's back. It kind of looks like a shield that he's carrying behind him. And he is walking away from us in a field, kind of looking over his right shoulder so we can see half of his face. Behind him is a black stallion that is following him. And his horse is like dressed all pretty. He's got like tassels.
I literally just got that guy that the first image in my head was a guy that sings and plays the guitar on the series The Witcher. Toss a coin to your Witcher song. That's literally what popped in my head like right now. But yeah, I like the kind of, it looks like he's dropping shields left, like just constant dropping shields and walking away. Like, I'm dropping him, no big deal. That's how I'm feeling right now. Like, which is kind of connected to the whole letting go. And I'll be very intrigued if this book mentions that.
Get a move on with it.
Get a move on with it. Okay. Diligence and hard work, determination, steadfastness, building material security, safety, being pragmatic, expansion. He's toiling and tilling his lands and enjoying every moment over every minute of it.
Does he want to come dig a trench? I hear he wants hard labor.
I feel like he's saying he wants hard labor. You know what I'm saying? I like the affirmation. Seed by seed, I plant my future with my rock steady foundations of faith. And what's interesting as far as like how this relates to my own personal world, I am building a garden step by step, little by little, for the first time ever.
That's an experiment.
Truth.
Yeah. Mine is way too literal.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I mean, I apologize, y'all. Like, it's all I can think about is the weather. Like, it's become a little obsessive. So this whole deal with trying to keep my house from water breaching the foundation.
I mean, but who wouldn't be obsessed about wanting to protect your home and the foundations that you've built?
That's fair.
And I think that really does stand for all of us. You know, we build these foundations and we become proud of what we've done. And these are our homes. These are our sanctuaries. These are our place to be able to be ourselves and relax. And so when that gets disruptive and it becomes the not place to relax and it becomes this place that you're now having to guard and protect at all times, then it's going to be on your mind. So Thank you. Much as I needed the grace today, here I'm shooting it right back over to you.
Oh, I love you.
I love you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So good times.
Thanks for sticking around for our redo.
We really do appreciate it. We really do appreciate it. And of course, you know, as always, if you are enjoying our content, please don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell. It helps us grow. And it also allows us to know that you like our content and to keep making more of it. So we appreciate you for that.
Yeah. And if you like this tarot card deck that we've been using, then it is on our Amazon shop on lovealwaysself.com. Also, if you like my shirt, this is also a Love Always Self product that can be found on lovealwaysself.com under shop.
I do love that shirt.
Yeah. So go check that out.
And we do have mugs. Not that particular mug, because this one's a Yeti product, but we do have very similar mugs on our shop that you can still get the logo on it and everything. So feel free to check it out on the website. And of course, we have social media accounts.
We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and we are on TikTok. You can also find us on YouTube. If you are not watching this on YouTube right now, you can also find us on all of the major podcast platforms. So check us out, share us with your friends, and don't forget to love first.
Love last.
And love always. Bye, y'all.
Bye, everybody.
Hey, listener, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us in this moment. We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we look forward to our next connection.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow to stay notified of new content from Love Always Self. If you have any questions or topics you'd like for us to discuss, please hit us up on any of our social media platforms linked in the show notes below.
I'm Karista.
And I'm Shyra.
And until next time, remember to love first,
Love last,
and love always. Love Always Self podcast is meant for entertainment purposes only. We do not make any warranties about the completeness, reliability, and accuracy of the information presented in this podcast. Any action you choose to take upon the information in this podcast is strictly done so at your own risk, and we will not be held liable for any losses and damages in connection with the use of our podcast. Any and all medical concerns should be addressed with a licensed healthcare provider, as well as any questions that may be derived from the information discussed in this podcast.